things I love about my Volkswagen Golf 1.6 TDI with the 5 things I hate. Now, a bit like the R53, there's not that much I really hate about this car. It does the job that it's required to do. But there are still 5 things that are either annoying or fairly disliked. Number 1, and you know, I think a lot of Mark 7 Golf owners will agree with this. Number 1 is the sound. Now, outside of the car, this sounds like a 1.6 litre diesel. So, like a weak tractor. That's what it sounds like if you're stood outside the car. However, when you're inside the car and in sport mode, which invariably I am always in sport mode, you get a fake pumped-in noise that makes the car sound sportier, even in this 1.6 TDI. Now, yeah, all right. So in my cockpit in the car driving, I'm like, wow, this car sounds great. Considering it's a diesel, it's got such a good sound. But it doesn't. It doesn't have a good sound. It sounds like a Foster's Lager version of a diesel engine. That's what it sounds like outside. It sounds weak. Thankfully, I'm inside and I can pretend that I'm in a really sporty hatchback instead of a car that looks like a sporty hatchback but doesn't sound like one. Also, the exhaust note is what you'd expect with a 1.6 litre diesel. Not very good. Number 2 is something I've mentioned before about this car, and that is the 16x65 wheels. They're too small. The car, the actual shape of the car, the arch gap that's left with those wheels is disappointing. I mean, this car, even in its 1.6 capacity, is meant to be quite a sporty car. It's a Golf after all. There's a Mark 4 Golf in front of me, which is clearly going to hold me up, and that's going to be really annoying. But that's just one of those things. The wheels I dislike. I dislike strongly, not necessarily the way they look, but the size. Like 16x65, they're just not big enough. They really aren't. If they were 17x7, wow. I mean, that would look excellent. It would fill the arches. It would look really good. And, you know, the wheels that are on this car, the Volkswagen Toronto wheel, it's the code name, Toronto. You know, the actual look of the wheel is great, but the size, for the size of the car, when you look at it profile, the wheels look too small. Now, I know that it's gonna be, for a similar reason to another point later on the list, that it's to, you know, keep the car within boundaries of efficiency and essentially fuel economy, etc., etc. But they could do with being bigger. They really could. It would just make the car look better. And yes, all right, I could just buy some instead of moaning about it. But new wheels, I run an R53 alongside this car. That takes up a lot of money. I don't really have the cash to put new wheels on this car at the moment, so I'm stuck with them. But I do dislike the wheels. Do I hate them? Not necessarily, because they look okay, but they are too small. Now, number 3 is probably the thing I find most annoying, and a lot of manufacturers do it, and Volkswagen, well, we know that there are potential reasons why Volkswagen do it more than others, is the actual performance out of factory. When you pick one of these cars up, the way the engine has been detuned is just frustrating, because this engine is so capable. I've not had, and you know, touch wood, but I've not had any issues with this engine and its ability the whole time I've had the car. I really haven't. It's been fine, but then I had it remapped a week after having it, because initially this 1.6 litre CLHA engine, that's the engine code apparently, put down a staggering 105 brake horsepower and 184 foot-pounds of torque, which is pathetic. In a car of this size, and it's not the biggest hot hatch, but it's also not a small hot hatch, to have such feeble figures, I don't get it. Why detune an engine that's capable of so much more? It's a really, really strong engine. And when I first picked it up, it was first gear, second gear, third gear, momentum. The car comes to life a little bit, the torque kicks in, and it feels like it can actually move. Before the remap, the best I could hope for was, right, let's just hope I can stretch its legs past 30 miles an hour and I might get a little bit of fun. After I had it remapped, I was told it was now 165 brake horsepower with 250 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, it feels like it. Look at the way this picks up. This is in third gear, and it just shows how capable this engine is, especially as it's a small engine, but it makes the car really move. The torque of this engine is spectacular. It really does pull you about. And it's a 1.6 litre engine. So why detune it and make it... That's how it sounded. That's how it felt. You get in the car and you go, I'll pull away at a junction. Like, it made driving not fun in here. And it's a great car. It should be fun. This engine is great. And I know that the actual reason it was detuned, and it would be 105 brake and blah blah, fuel efficiency, we've got to pass our CO2 emissions ratings, all of that, I get it. I do get it. But since having it remapped, I get an extra maybe 4 miles to the gallon. So surely the difference in emissions wouldn't have been that much. So if it came from factory with 165 brake and 200 foot-pounds of torque, it would be an amazing bit of kit. I mean, that's not far off the figures that are given for the GTD, which is the top performance model of the Mark 7 diesel Golf. And the thing is, even though it's, you know, this is a 1.6 litre TDI, these cars handle superbly, even without strong power figures. They really do. And the 165 brake this car's now got and the 250 foot-pounds of torque really does make a difference. It makes this car excellent to drive. But from factory, awful. Hate it about it. I remember the first time I drove it and I was so disappointed. I really was, because I was like, it's comfortable, it looks great. It's got no pace whatsoever. This is rubbish. Remapped, lots of pace, really enjoyable to drive. Number 4. Well, this one is just essentially, this one and the next one are me. It's all just because of me. It's the person that I am, the moron you might want to say that I am. It's the automatic windscreen wipers. They are shockingly bad. Now, they've never worked properly. Like when it really does downpour, the windscreen wipers are pretty rubbish. But the automatic function, and you've got settings, you've got like 4 different settings for the size of raindrop. I mean, that's what it looks like. But when they worked, yeah, they worked all right. As the rain built up, the windscreen wipers will get faster. That's what you expect with automatic windscreen wipers. You expect them to build and get faster. Until they didn't, and they don't work anymore at all. So the automatic windscreen wipers in this car don't work automatically, which is not a massive problem. If they were efficient generally, it would be even less of a massive problem, the fact that they are no longer automatic. The headlights are still automatic, but the windscreen wipers aren't. Okay, I could get that fixed. Can I be bothered? Not really, because they're not that good anyway. But also, I've had a moment of rage where I found myself screaming at my windscreen wipers when they did work. And so I'm quite glad they don't work anymore, because the fact that it made me show an element of lunacy, like literally screaming at my windscreen wipers, that's pretty mental. And the reason being was they were going faster than the amount of rain that was hitting my windscreen needed them to. So they were kind of like going at, oh look, there's a shower. Instead of going ee, They were going for no reason. There was no need for them to be going that fast. And I lost my temper with my windscreen wipers. I caught myself screaming at the windscreen wipers of this car. It's a car. It's windscreen wipers, and I'm there shouting at them. So yes, I hate the windscreen wipers on this car. Maybe because I'm mental. Who knows? This is a nice bendy bit of road that will take me to number 5. It's the interior trim on the door card. That's okay. You know, you can rest your arm in multiple positions. Lovely. I want to be able to do that. However, being able to do that and then moving your arm the slightest bit, where this A-pillar here comes down, is this an A-pillar? I don't know. The pillar that separates the doors. The interior plastics on that, it's like a big jagged piece of plastic, blunt plastic, that just wants to smash your elbow to bits. Like, as soon as you make a slight adjustment, and I mean slight adjustment, I mean, I'm not talking a lot, and I'm just going to stop it here for a second. You've got your arm there, and then you move it back, and you crack it on it, and then you're in agony because it feels like you've smashed your elbow. Why have it? I mean, I'll show you it. Let's do a close-up. Look at that. Ridiculous. That's a ridiculous bit of plastic. It has no need to be there and is absolutely irritating that it is. Anyway, short but sweet, is it? I don't know. I mean, you know, it's probably not that short, is it, this video? So anyway, let's get back on the go. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, watch more, turn on notifications, you know, tap that little bell icon and show me some love. Show me that, you know, you're enjoying the videos. Comment, give me a thumbs up. And until the next time, I've been me, you've been you, and well done.